Imagine, for a moment, standing at the edge of a vast forest where the trees stretch endlessly into the horizon. The air is cool and still, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and moss. You step forward, and as you do, you notice how the light filters through the canopy, dappling the ground in patches of golden shadow. This forest is not just a place, but a metaphor for your mind. Its depths, its mysteries, its endless capacity for both light and darkness. As you walk, you begin to feel the weight of your worries, like stones in your pockets, pulling you down. Each step feels heavier, as though the earth itself is resisting you. And yet the forest continues to stretch on, indifferent to your struggle. It does not judge, nor does it offer advice. It simply is. Consider the trees. They do not fight against the wind, nor do they resist the changing seasons. In autumn, they surrender their leaves without protest, allowing them to fall where they may. In winter, they stand bare and vulnerable, yet unbroken. Come spring, they bud again, and in summer, they flourish. This is their way, a quiet, unyielding acceptance of what is. You too are like these trees. Your anxieties, your fears, your doubts. They are the seasons of your mind, ever-changing yet never permanent. And just as the trees do not cling to their leaves, you need not cling to your thoughts. Let us pause here in this quiet moment and breathe. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, the gentle rhythm that connects you to all living things. This breath is your anchor, a reminder that you are alive, that you are here, that you exist. Notice how your thoughts, like clouds drifting across the sky, come and go. Some are dark and heavy, others light and fleeting, but the sky remains unchanged, vast and infinite. Your mind is like the sky, ever present, ever open, ever capacious. The clouds may obscure it for a time, but they cannot diminish it. Now let us turn to the concept of impermanence, a cornerstone of Buddhist wisdom. Everything that arises must also pass. The joy you felt yesterday, the sorrow that gripped you last week, they are no longer here. Even this moment, as you read these words, is slipping away, dissolving into the next. This truth can be unsettling, but it can also be liberating. If nothing lasts, then neither does your suffering. It too is transient, a wave that rises and falls in the ocean of your mind. You need not fight it, nor must you drown in it. Instead, you can simply observe it, acknowledging its presence without letting it define you. Consider the river. It does not struggle against the rocks in its path, nor does it lament the obstacles it encounters. It flows around them, over them, through them, always moving, always adapting. In its movement, there is a kind of wisdom, a recognition that resistance only creates turbulence, while acceptance allows for smooth passage. Your life is like this river, and your worries are the rocks. They may slow you down, but they cannot stop you. And in the act of flowing, you discover a kind of peace, a quiet understanding that you are not the rocks, nor the current, nor the river itself. You are something deeper, something unchanging, the awareness that perceives it all. This awareness is your true nature, the still point at the center of your being. It is like the eye of a storm, untouched by the chaos that swirls around it. To find it, you need only turn inward, away from the noise and distraction of the external world. Close your eyes and listen, not to the thoughts that clamor for your attention, but to the silence that underlies them. It is there, in that silence, that you will find peace. But peace is not something you must seek or attain. It is not a destination, nor is it a prize to be won. It is simply the natural state of your being, obscured by the layers of worry and fear that you have accumulated over time. Like mist on a mirror, these layers can be wiped away, not through force or effort, but through gentle awareness. Each time you notice your anxiety, each time you observe it without judgment, you are clearing the mirror, allowing the light of your true self to shine through. This process is not always easy. There will be moments when the mist is thick, when the rocks in the river seem insurmountable, when the forest feels endless and dark. But remember, you are not alone. The trees, the river, the sky, they are all here with you, reminders of the wisdom that lies within. And as you continue to walk, to breathe, to observe, you will find that the weight in your pockets begins to lighten, that the path beneath your feet becomes less burdensome. In the end, freedom from anxiety is not about eliminating your worries, but about changing your relationship to them. It is about seeing them for what they are, temporary, passing, insubstantial. It is about recognizing that you are not your thoughts nor your emotions, but the awareness that holds them. And it is about trusting in the natural flow of life, just as the river trusts its course, just as the trees trust the seasons. As you leave this forest and return to the world beyond, carry this understanding with you. Let it be a quiet companion, a steady presence in the midst of life's chaos. And whenever you feel the weight of anxiety pressing down, remember the trees, the river, the sky. Remember that you too are a part of this vast, interconnected web of existence, eternal, boundless, and at peace. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and moss, and the sunlight filters through the canopy in golden shards. You step forward, and with each step, the world around you seems to soften, as if the forest itself is inviting you to let go. This is not a place of urgency or haste. It is a place of stillness, a sanctuary where time slows and the mind begins to quiet. Here in this space, you are invited to explore the nature of your own being, to untangle the threads of anxiety that cling to your thoughts, and to discover the peace that lies beneath. Anxiety, you might notice, is like a shadow that follows you wherever you go. It is not a part of you, yet it seems to cling to you, shaped by the contours of your fears and uncertainties. It whispers in your ear, telling you stories of what might go wrong, of what you might lose, of who you might become. These stories are not real, yet they feel so vivid, so immediate, that it is easy to believe them. But here in the forest, you begin to see them for what they are, mere thoughts passing through your mind like clouds across the sky. They are not you, and they do not define you. They are simply there, and you are simply here, observing them with a quiet curiosity. As you walk deeper into the forest, you notice a small stream winding its way through the trees. The water is clear, and it moves with a gentle, unhurried rhythm. You kneel beside it and watch as it flows, carrying leaves and twigs along its surface. The stream does not resist what it carries. It does not try to hold on to anything or push anything away. It simply flows, accepting whatever comes its way. You might think of your own mind as the stream, and your thoughts and emotions as the leaves and twigs. They are not obstacles to be overcome or problems to be solved. They are simply part of the flow. When you allow them to move through you without resistance, they lose their power to disturb you. They become just another part of the landscape, beautiful in their impermanence. You sit by the stream for a while, letting its rhythm soothe you. The sound of the water is like a mantra, a gentle reminder to return to the present moment. You notice how often your mind wanders, how easily it gets caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. But each time you bring your attention back to the stream, you feel a sense of calm, as if the water is washing away your anxieties. This is the practice of mindfulness, not as a task to be mastered, but as a natural state of being. It is the act of returning again and again to the here and now, where life is unfolding in all its richness and simplicity. As you continue your journey through the forest, you come across a clearing bathed in sunlight. In the center of the clearing stands a single tree, its branches reaching toward the sky. The tree is old, its bark gnarled and weathered, yet it stands with a quiet strength. You approach it and place your hand on its trunk, feeling the rough texture beneath your fingers. The tree has seen countless seasons come and go. It has weathered storms and droughts, yet it remains rooted, steadfast, and resilient. You might think of yourself as this tree, grounded in your own being, even as the winds of life blow around you. You do not need to resist the storms or cling to the sunshine. You simply need to stand firm in your own center, trusting in your ability to endure. The tree does not worry about the future or dwell on the past. It does not question its purpose or doubt its worth. It simply is, fully present in each moment, embracing the fullness of its existence. You too can learn to live in this way, not by striving or forcing, but by allowing. Allow yourself to be as you are, without judgment or resistance. Allow your thoughts and emotions to come and go, like the leaves on the tree. Allow life to unfold in its own time, trusting that you are exactly where you need to be. As the sun begins to set, casting a warm glow over the forest, you feel a deep sense of peace settling within you. The anxieties that once seemed so overwhelming now feel distant, like echoes of a dream. You realize that peace is not something you need to achieve or attain. It is something you already possess, waiting to be uncovered. It is the stillness beneath the surface of your thoughts, the quiet presence that has been with you all along. You do not need to search for it or fight for it. You simply need to return to it again and again, like the stream returning to the sea. The forest begins to darken as night falls, and you know it is time to leave. But as you walk back the way you came, you carry with you a sense of lightness, as if a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. The trees seem to whisper their farewells, their leaves rustling in the evening breeze. You feel a deep gratitude for this place, for the lessons it has taught you, for the peace it has revealed. And as you step out of the forest and into the world beyond, you know that this peace will remain with you, a quiet companion on your journey through life. You do not need to be free of anxiety to find peace. You do not need to be perfect or enlightened or wise. You simply need to be present, to open your heart to the moment and to trust in the flow of life. The forest, the stream, the tree, they are all within you, reminders of the stillness that lies at the core of your being. And as you walk through the world, you carry this stillness with you, a beacon of light in the midst of the chaos. You are the forest, the stream, the tree. You are the peace you seek. And in this knowing, you are free. The world around you is a vast, ever-shifting landscape, and within it, your mind is like a forest, dense, alive, and sometimes untamed. The trees sway in the wind, their leaves rustling with thoughts that rise and fall like whispers. Some are gentle, carrying the scent of peace. Others are sharp, like the crack of a branch underfoot, startling you into alertness. These are the thoughts of worry, of fear, of anxiety, those that seem to cling to you like shadows, even in the brightest light. But the forest is not your enemy. It is simply what it is, a place of growth and decay, of stillness and movement. And you standing within it are not separate from it. You are part of its rhythm, its flow, its essence. To find peace in this forest, you must first understand that anxiety is not a foreign invader. It is not something to be fought or banished. It is a part of you as natural as the wind that stirs the leaves. It arises from the same source as all your thoughts. Your mind's attempt to make sense of the world, to protect you, to prepare you for what might come. But like the wind, it is transient. It does not define you, nor does it have the power to consume you unless you give it that power. To see this is to begin to loosen its grip. Imagine yourself standing by a still pond, its surface smooth as glass. The water reflects the sky, the trees, the world around it with perfect clarity. This is the nature of your mind when it is at rest, calm, open, receptive. But when a stone is thrown into the pond, ripples spread across the surface, distorting the reflection. The stone is your anxiety, your fear, your worry. The ripples are the thoughts and emotions that follow, churning the water into chaos. Yet if you wait, the ripples will fade. The pond will return to stillness. The reflection will once again be clear. This is the nature of all things. They arise, they pass, and in their passing they leave no trace. To sit with this understanding is to begin to free yourself from the weight of anxiety. You do not need to stop the ripples. You need only to observe them, to let them be. When you resist them, when you try to push them away or drown them out, you only create more disturbance. But when you allow them to exist, when you meet them with curiosity rather than fear, they lose their power over you. They become what they have always been, passing phenomena, like clouds drifting across the sky. Consider the seasons. In winter, the earth is cold and still, the trees bare, the ground hard. It is a time of waiting, of rest. But beneath the surface, life is stirring. Roots are growing, seeds are preparing to sprout. When spring comes, the world bursts into color and sound, a celebration of renewal. Summer follows, lush and abundant, and then autumn with its golden light and falling leaves. Each season has its purpose, its beauty, its challenges, and each one passes, giving way to the next. Your anxiety is like a season. It may feel endless, but it is not. It too will pass, making way for something new. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions are like the weather. Some days are clear and bright, others stormy and dark, but the sky itself is always there, vast and unchanging, untouched by the clouds that drift across it. This sky is your true nature, your awareness, your presence, your being. When you rest in this awareness, you can observe the storms without being swept away by them. You can see that they are not you, that they are simply passing through. To cultivate this awareness, you might turn to the practice of mindfulness. This is not about achieving a particular state or forcing yourself to be calm. It is about being present, moment by moment, with whatever arises. When you sit in meditation, you might notice the breath, the rise and fall of your chest, the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. You might notice the sounds around you, the feeling of the ground beneath you, the play of light and shadow. And you might notice your thoughts, your emotions, your anxieties. But instead of engaging with them, instead of following them down their winding paths, you simply observe them. You let them come and you let them go. This is not always easy. There will be moments when the pull of your thoughts is strong, when the weight of your emotions feels unbearable. In these moments, it is enough to breathe, to return to the present, to remind yourself that this too shall pass. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to fix everything. You only need to be here, now, in this moment. As you continue to practice, you may begin to notice a subtle shift. The storms may still come, but they no longer feel so overwhelming. The forest of your mind may still be dense, but you no longer feel lost within it. You begin to see that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your anxieties. You are the awareness that observes them, the stillness that holds them. And in this seeing, there is a profound sense of freedom. This freedom is not the absence of anxiety. It is the understanding that anxiety, like all things, is impermanent. It is the recognition that you do not need to be free from it to be at peace. Peace is not something you achieve by eliminating what disturbs you. It is something you discover by embracing what is, by meeting each moment with openness and compassion. So when anxiety arises, as it will, do not turn away from it. Do not try to push it aside or bury it deep within you. Instead, turn toward it. Meet it with curiosity, with kindness. See it for what it is, a passing cloud, a ripple on the surface of the pond. And as you do, you may find that it begins to dissolve, not because you have fought it, but because you have allowed it to be. In this allowing, there is a deep and abiding peace, a peace that is not dependent on the absence of anxiety, but on the presence of awareness. And so you sit by the still pond, in the heart of the forest, beneath the vast and open sky. The wind stirs the leaves, the ripples spread across the water, the clouds drift by. And you, in the midst of it all, are still. You are here, you are now. And in this moment, there is nothing to fear, nothing to hold on to, nothing to let go of. There is only this, the breath, the stillness, the peace that is always and already yours. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and moss, and the sunlight filters through the canopy in golden shards. You step forward, and with each step, the world around you seems to soften, as if the forest itself is inviting you to let go. This is not a place of urgency or haste. It is a place of stillness, a sanctuary where time slows and the mind begins to quiet. Here in this space, you are invited to explore the nature of your own being, to untangle the threads of anxiety that cling to your thoughts, and to discover the peace that lies beneath. Anxiety, like a shadow, follows you wherever you go. It is not something you can outrun, for it is not separate from you. It is a part of the landscape of your mind, a ripple on the surface of a deep and ancient lake. You may try to push it away, to distract yourself, to fill the silence with noise, but it remains persistent and unyielding. What if, instead of resisting it, you were to turn toward it, to sit with it as you might sit with a friend who is in pain? What if you were to listen to it, not with judgment or fear, but with curiosity and compassion? For anxiety at its core is not your enemy. It is a messenger, a signal from the depths of your being, asking for your attention. In the teachings of Buddhism, there is a concept known as anicca, or impermanence. It is the understanding that all things are in a state of constant change, that nothing remains the same from one moment to the next. The leaves on the trees will fall, the river will flow, the seasons will turn, and even the mountains will erode over time. This truth can be unsettling, for it reminds us of the fragility of life, of the inevitability of loss. And yet it is also a source of profound freedom. For if everything is impermanent, then so too is your anxiety. It is not a fixed state, not a permanent part of who you are. It is a passing cloud, a wave on the ocean, a gust of wind that will eventually subside. When you feel the grip of anxiety tightening around your chest, when your thoughts spiral into a labyrinth of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios, remember this: you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them, the vast sky in which they arise and dissolve. Just as the sky does not cling to the clouds, you do not need to cling to your worries. You can let them pass through you, like leaves floating down a stream, without resistance or attachment. This is not to say that you should ignore or suppress your feelings. On the contrary, it is an invitation to meet them fully, to acknowledge their presence without becoming entangled in their story. There is a practice in mindfulness meditation known as noting. It is a simple yet powerful tool for cultivating awareness and detachment. When a thought or emotion arises, you gently note it, labeling it as thinking or feeling, and then return your attention to the present moment. This practice helps to create a sense of distance between you and your thoughts, allowing you to see them for what they are: transient phenomena, not ultimate truths. You might notice that anxiety often arises from a sense of uncertainty, from the fear of what might happen in the future. But the future is not here yet. It is a mirage, a projection of the mind. The only moment you truly have is this one, right now. As you walk deeper into the forest, you come across a clearing. The sunlight spills onto the grass, and the air is filled with the hum of insects and the rustle of leaves. You sit down, feeling the earth beneath you, solid and grounding. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, allowing your body to relax. In this moment, there is no need to do anything, to be anywhere other than here. The forest does not worry about the future. It simply exists, rooted in the present. The trees do not resist the changing seasons. They adapt, they grow, they let go. Can you allow yourself to do the same? In the stillness, you may begin to notice a subtle shift within you. The weight of anxiety begins to lift, not because you have solved anything or figured everything out, but because you have stopped fighting. You have stopped trying to control what cannot be controlled. This is the essence of acceptance, not resignation, but a deep and abiding trust in the flow of life. It is the understanding that you are not separate from the world around you, that you are a part of the same web of existence that connects all things. When you align yourself with this truth, you find that peace is not something you need to seek. It is already here, within you, waiting to be discovered. There is a story in Buddhist tradition about a monk who was walking through a storm. The wind was fierce, the rain was pouring, and the monk was drenched and cold. He came across a farmer who was struggling to tie down his haystacks, and the farmer shouted at the monk, "Why are you just standing there? Don't you see the storm?" The monk smiled and replied, "I see the storm, but I am not the storm." This is the wisdom of non-identification, the understanding that you are not defined by your circumstances, by your thoughts, or by your emotions. You are the awareness that witnesses them, the stillness that remains untouched by the chaos. As you sit in the clearing, you may feel a sense of spaciousness opening up within you. It is as if the forest has entered your heart, filling it with its quiet strength and resilience. You realize that anxiety, like the storm, is not something to be feared or avoided. It is simply a part of the human experience, a natural response to the uncertainties of life, and yet it does not have to define you. You can choose to meet it with openness and compassion, to hold it gently in your awareness, and to let it pass when it is ready to go. The sun begins to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The forest grows quieter, the shadows longer. You rise from the ground feeling a sense of calm and clarity. The journey is not over. There will be more storms, more moments of doubt and fear. But you know now that you do not have to face them alone. You have the forest within you, the stillness, the awareness. You have the wisdom of impermanence, the practice of mindfulness, the power of acceptance. And you have this moment, this breath, this step forward into the unknown. As you walk back through the trees, you feel a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the forest, for the teachings, for the journey. Gratitude for the anxiety that led you here, that showed you the way to your own heart. And gratitude for the peace that you have found, not as a destination, but as a way of being. For peace is not the absence of turmoil. It is the ability to remain centered amidst the chaos, to find stillness within the storm. It is the understanding that you are already whole, already free, already home. The weight of anxiety is not unlike the heaviness of a storm cloud, lingering just above the horizon, threatening to break, yet never quite releasing its reign. You may feel it pressing against your chest, a tightness that seems to mirror the way your thoughts circle, like birds trapped in a cage of their own making. But here in this moment, let us step into the stillness together, not to fight the storm, but to understand it, to see it for what it truly is. For anxiety, like all things, is transient, a passing shadow, not the substance of your being. Imagine for a moment a vast meadow stretching endlessly before you. The grasses sway gently in the breeze, their movements fluid and unhurried. In the distance, a single tree stands, its branches reaching skyward, rooted deeply in the earth. This meadow is your mind, vast and open, capable of holding both the storm and the calm. Anxiety is but a gust of wind, rippling through the grasses, bending them but never breaking them. It is not the meadow itself, nor is it the tree. It is simply a movement, a momentary disturbance in the ever-present stillness. You may wonder how to find this stillness when the winds of worry seem so relentless. The answer lies not in trying to stop the wind, but in observing it. Watch as it moves through you, as it shapes your thoughts and emotions. Notice how it rises, how it falls, how it shifts direction. Anxiety, like the wind, is not something you can control, but it is something you can witness. And in witnessing, you begin to see that it is not as solid as it feels. It is not a boulder blocking your path, but a mist that dissolves when you turn your gaze upon it. In Buddhist wisdom, there is a teaching on impermanence. All things arise and pass away like waves on the surface of the ocean. Anxiety, too, is a wave rising from the depths of your mind, cresting for a moment, and then subsiding back into the vastness. The trouble begins when you mistake the wave for the ocean itself, when you believe that this temporary state is who you are. But you are not the wave. You are the ocean, vast and boundless, capable of holding all things without being consumed by them. Consider the way a leaf falls from a tree in autumn. It does not resist the pull of gravity, nor does it cling to the branch in fear of the unknown. It simply lets go, trusting in the natural order of things. In the same way, you can learn to let go of the need to control your anxiety, to release the grip of fear, and allow it to flow through you. This is not an act of surrender, but of wisdom, a recognition that fighting against what is only deepens the struggle. There is a practice in Buddhism known as vipassana, or insight meditation. It is a practice of seeing things as they are, without judgment or attachment. When anxiety arises, you can turn toward it with curiosity, as though it were a visitor at your door. What does it feel like in your body? Where does it reside? Is it a tightness in your chest, a fluttering in your stomach, a heaviness in your limbs? Observe it without trying to change it, without labeling it as good or bad. Simply be with it, as you would be with a friend who has come to share their story. In this way, anxiety becomes not something to be feared, but something to be understood. It is a messenger carrying with it the wisdom of your own heart. Often, anxiety arises not because something is wrong, but because you are deeply alive, deeply aware of the fragility and beauty of existence. It is a reminder that you care, that you love, that you are connected to the world in all its impermanence. And yet it is also a reminder that you are more than your fears, more than your worries, more than the fleeting storms that pass through your mind. As you sit with anxiety, you may begin to notice a subtle shift, like the first light of dawn breaking through the darkness. It is the realization that you are not alone in this experience, that anxiety is a part of the human condition, as natural as the changing of the seasons. Just as winter gives way to spring, so too does anxiety give way to peace, not because you have forced it to, but because it is the nature of things to change. And so, you come to see that inner peace is not something you must strive for, not a distant shore you must reach through struggle and effort. It is already here within you, like a deep well of stillness beneath the surface of your mind. All that is required is to turn your attention inward, to rest in the awareness that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not the storms that pass through you. You are the awareness itself, the spaciousness that holds all things. In this awareness, there is a profound freedom. It is the freedom to be with what is, without resistance, without judgment. It is the freedom to let life flow through you, like a river that moves effortlessly around the rocks in its path. Anxiety may still arise, but it no longer has the power to define you. It is simply a part of the river, a part of the journey, a part of the vast and beautiful tapestry of existence. As you walk this path, remember that you are not seeking to eliminate anxiety, but to understand it, to befriend it, to see it as a teacher rather than an enemy. For in the heart of every storm lies the potential for growth, for transformation, for a deeper connection to the essence of who you are. And in this understanding, you find not only peace, but a profound sense of wholeness, a recognition that you are already and always have been complete. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and moss, and the sunlight filters through the canopy in golden shards. You step forward, and with each step, the world around you seems to soften, as if the forest itself is inviting you to let go. This is not a place of urgency or haste. It is a sanctuary where time slows, and the weight of your thoughts begins to dissolve. Here in this quiet expanse, you are invited to explore the nature of your anxiety, not as an enemy to be fought, but as a part of the landscape of your being, a shadow that can only exist in the presence of light. Anxiety, like the rustling of leaves in a storm, is a natural response to the uncertainties of life. It is the mind's way of trying to protect you, to prepare you for what might come. But in its effort to shield you, it often becomes a barrier, a thicket of thorns that obscures the path forward. You may find yourself caught in its grip, your thoughts spiraling like leaves caught in a whirlwind, unable to settle. Yet the forest teaches us that even the fiercest storm eventually passes. The trees do not resist the wind. They bend and sway, their roots deep and unshakable. In the same way, you can learn to meet your anxiety with a gentle curiosity, allowing it to move through you without becoming entangled in its grasp. Consider the way a stream flows through the forest. It does not question its path. It simply moves, carving its way through the earth with a quiet persistence. When it encounters a rock, it does not stop or turn back. It flows around it, over it, through it, always finding a way forward. Your thoughts and emotions are like this stream, ever changing, ever moving. Anxiety is not a permanent state. It is a current that rises and falls, a ripple on the surface of a deeper stillness. When you try to resist it, to push it away, you only create more turbulence. But when you allow it to be, when you observe it with the same detachment as you would the flow of water, it begins to lose its power over you. In the teachings of Buddhism, there is a concept known as anicca, or impermanence. It reminds us that all things are in a state of flux, that nothing remains the same from one moment to the next. The anxiety you feel now is not the same as the anxiety you felt yesterday, nor will it be the same as the anxiety you may feel tomorrow. It is a passing cloud, a fleeting shadow. When you cling to it, when you identify with it as though it were a fixed part of who you are, you give it a permanence it does not possess. But when you recognize its transient nature, when you see it as just one of many experiences arising and dissolving within you, you begin to loosen its hold. There is a practice in mindfulness meditation known as noting. It is a simple yet profound act of naming what is present in your experience without judgment or attachment. You might say to yourself, this is anxiety or this is fear, as though you were observing a bird in flight or a leaf falling from a tree. By naming it, you create a space between yourself and the emotion, a distance that allows you to see it more clearly. You are not the anxiety, you are the awareness that observes it. This shift in perspective can be deeply liberating, like stepping back from a painting to see the whole picture rather than being lost in the brushstrokes. As you walk deeper into the forest, you may notice how the light changes, how the shadows lengthen and shift with the movement of the sun. The world is in constant motion, yet there is a stillness at its core, a silence that underlies all sound. In the same way, your mind may be filled with thoughts and emotions, but beneath them lies a stillness that is always present, always available to you. This stillness is not something you need to create or achieve. It is already within you, like the quiet depths of a lake beneath its rippling surface. When you turn your attention to it, even for a moment, you begin to touch a sense of peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the idea of non-attachment. This does not mean that you should not care about anything or that you should detach yourself from life. Rather, it is an invitation to hold things lightly, to recognize that everything you experience, joy, sorrow, fear, peace, is temporary. When you cling to something, whether it is a thought, an emotion, or a desire, you create suffering. But when you let go, when you allow things to be as they are, you open yourself to a deeper sense of freedom. This is not a freedom from life, but a freedom within life, a way of being that is spacious and open, like the sky above the forest. As you continue your journey through the forest, you may come across a clearing, a place where the trees part and the sky opens wide. Here you can see the vastness of the world, the endless expanse of blue that stretches beyond the horizon. In this moment, you may feel a sense of expansiveness, a recognition that your worries and fears are small in comparison to the immensity of existence. This is not to diminish your experience, but to put it in perspective, to remind you that you are part of something much larger than yourself. Just as the forest is a part of the earth, and the earth is a part of the cosmos, you are a part of the great web of life, interconnected and interdependent. In this interconnectedness, There is a profound sense of belonging, a knowing that you are not alone. Your anxiety, your struggles, your joys, they are shared by countless others, each walking their own path through the forest of life. When you recognize this, when you see that your experience is not separate from the human experience, you may feel a sense of compassion, both for yourself and for others. This compassion is not a sentimental feeling, but a deep understanding, a recognition of the shared vulnerability and resilience that binds us all together. As the day begins to wane and the forest grows darker, you may feel a sense of calm settling over you. The anxieties that once seemed so overwhelming now feel like distant echoes, like the fading light of the sun. You realize that peace is not something you need to chase or strive for. It is already here, in the quiet moments, in the spaces between your thoughts. It is in the rustle of the leaves, the song of the birds, the gentle rhythm of your breath. It is in the awareness that you are alive, that you are here in this moment exactly as you are. And so, as you leave the forest and return to the world beyond, you carry with you a sense of lightness, a knowing that you can always return to this place of stillness within yourself. The forest will always be there, a reminder that even in the midst of life's uncertainties, there is a peace that cannot be shaken. It is not a peace that comes from the absence of anxiety, but a peace that exists alongside it, a peace that is always available to you, like the quiet depths of the forest, waiting to be discovered. The air is heavy with the scent of dew-kissed grass, and the world seems to hold its breath as the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon. You stand at the edge of a vast meadow, where the earth stretches out in all directions, soft and yielding underfoot. Here in this quiet expanse, you may begin to sense the faint stirrings of something ancient and eternal, a rhythm that has pulsed through the heart of existence long before your footsteps ever grace this ground. It is the rhythm of life itself, a current that carries all things, joy and sorrow, peace and unrest, in its gentle, unyielding flow. To stand here is to stand at the threshold of understanding, where the noise of the mind begins to fade and the whisper of something deeper takes its place. Trouble and anxiety often feel like storms, sudden and unrelenting, tearing through the landscape of your thoughts. They rise without warning, their winds howling, their rains lashing at the fragile structures of your peace. And yet even the fiercest storm is but a passing phenomenon, a momentary disturbance in the vast unbroken sky. The sky does not resist the storm. It does not cling to the clouds or push them away. It simply is, vast and unmoving, allowing the storm to rage until it exhausts itself and dissipates into nothingness. In this, there is a profound teaching. The sky does not fear the storm, nor does it mourn its passing. It remains serene and unshaken because it knows that all things are transient, that all disturbances are impermanent. You too carry within you a sky, a boundless open space that is untouched by the storms of thought and emotion. Anxiety may cloud this sky, but it cannot alter its nature. The clouds may obscure the sun, but they do not extinguish it. They drift, they gather, they disperse, and through it all, the sky remains. To find peace is not to banish the clouds, but to recognize them for what they are, fleeting, insubstantial, and incapable of defining the vastness that holds them. This recognition is not an act of force or will. It is an act of gentle observation, a turning of the gaze inward to see that which has always been there, waiting patiently for your attention. Consider the leaves of a tree in autumn, how they turn from green to gold to brown, and finally fall to the earth. Each leaf follows its own path, carried by the wind, landing in its own place. The tree does not cling to its leaves, nor does it mourn their loss. It stands rooted in stillness and acceptance, knowing that the falling of leaves is not an end, but a part of the cycle, a necessary step in the journey toward renewal. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions are like leaves, each one following its own course, each one destined to fall away in time. To cling to them is to resist the natural flow of life, to deny the wisdom of the seasons that teach us again and again the inevitability of change. There is a stream that runs through the meadow, its waters clear and cool, tumbling over smooth stones and winding its way through the earth. The stream does not struggle, it does not question its path or resist the obstacles it encounters. It simply flows, finding its way around the rocks, through the roots, over the falls, always moving, always adapting. The stream is a mirror of the mind, not in its turbulence but in its fluidity, in its ability to move without resistance, to accept each moment as it comes, without judgment or fear. To be like the stream is to let go of the need to control, to release the grip of anxiety and allow yourself to be carried by the current of life. In the stillness of the meadow, you may begin to notice the sounds that have been there all along. The rustle of grass, the call of a distant bird, the soft hum of the earth itself. These sounds are not separate from you. They are a part of the tapestry of existence, threads woven into the fabric of your being. To listen to them is to listen to yourself, to remember that you are not an isolated entity, but a part of something vast and interconnected. Anxiety often arises from the illusion of separation, from the belief that you are alone in your struggles, cut off from the world around you. But this belief is a mirage, a trick of the mind that obscures the truth of your unity with all that is. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, its warmth spreads across the meadow, touching everything with its light. The grass glistens, the stream sparkles, and the air seems to shimmer with life. This light is not something you need to create or possess. It is already here, within and around you, illuminating the path, revealing the way. To find peace is not to seek something outside of yourself, but to turn toward the light that is already shining, to open your eyes and see that it has always been there, waiting for you to notice. The meadow, the stream, the sky, they are not just metaphors, they are mirrors, reflecting back to you the truth of your own nature. They remind you that peace is not something to be achieved or attained. It is something to be recognized, something that has always been present, like the sky that holds the clouds, the stream that flows without effort, the light that shines without pause. To rest in this recognition is to find the stillness that underlies all movement, the silence that underlies all sound, the peace that underlies all anxiety. In the end, there is nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to fix or change. There is only this moment, this breath, this step on the earth. There is only the meadow, the stream, the sky, and the light, all of them inviting you to come home, to return to the place where you have always been, where you will always be, whole and complete, at peace. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and moss, and the sunlight filters through the canopy in golden shards. You step forward, and with each step, the world around you seems to soften, as if the forest itself is inviting you to let go. This is not a place of urgency or haste. It is a place of stillness, a sanctuary where time slows and the mind begins to quiet. Here in this space, you are invited to explore the nature of your own being, to untangle the threads of anxiety that cling to your thoughts, and to discover the peace that lies beneath. Anxiety, like a shadow, follows you wherever you go. It is not something you can outrun, for it is not separate from you. It is a part of the landscape of your mind, a ripple on the surface of a deep and ancient lake. You may try to push it away, to distract yourself, to fill the silence with noise, but it remains persistent and unyielding. What if, instead of resisting it, you were to turn toward it, to sit with it as you would sit with a friend? What if you were to listen to what it has to say, not with judgment or fear, but with curiosity and compassion? For anxiety at its core is not an enemy. It is a messenger, a signal from the depths of your being, asking for your attention. In the teachings of Buddhism, there is a concept known as anicca, or impermanence. It is the understanding that all things are in a state of flux, that nothing remains the same from one moment to the next. The leaves on the trees will fall, the river will change its course, and the seasons will turn. Your thoughts, too, are impermanent. They arise, they linger for a time, and then they pass away like clouds drifting across the sky. When you cling to a thought, when you hold it tightly and refuse to let it go, you create suffering. But when you allow it to flow through you, when you observe it without attachment, you begin to see it for what it truly is, a fleeting phenomenon, neither good nor bad, simply a part of the ever-changing tapestry of your mind. Consider the way a bird sings in the morning. It does not sing because it is trying to achieve something or because it is worried about the future. It sings because it is alive, because the song is a natural expression of its being. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions are not something you need to control or suppress. They are simply expressions of your inner world, as natural and inevitable as the changing of the seasons. When you allow them to be, when you stop trying to change them or push them away, you begin to find a sense of ease, a quiet acceptance of what is. This does not mean that you will never feel anxious again. Anxiety, like joy or sadness, is a part of the human experience. But when you stop seeing it as something to be feared, when you stop giving it power over you, it begins to lose its grip. You may still feel its presence, but it no longer defines you. It is like a storm passing through the sky. It may be loud and chaotic, but it cannot last forever. And when it passes, the sky is clear once more, vast and open, filled with the light of a new day. There is a practice in Buddhism known as metta, or loving kindness meditation. It is a practice of cultivating compassion, not only for others but for yourself. When you are anxious, when your mind is filled with worry and doubt, you can turn to this practice as a way of soothing your heart. Begin by sitting quietly, closing your eyes and bringing to mind the image of someone you love. Feel the warmth of your affection for them, the tenderness in your heart. Then slowly begin to extend that same warmth and tenderness to yourself. You may find it difficult at first, for we are often our own harshest critics. But with time and patience, you will begin to soften, to let go of the judgments and expectations that weigh you down. You will begin to see yourself as you truly are, a being of light and love, worthy of peace and happiness. As you walk through the forest of your mind, you may come across a clearing, a place where the trees part and the sunlight streams in. Here you can sit and rest, allowing yourself to simply be. There is no need to do anything, to achieve anything, to be anything other than what you are in this moment. The world around you is alive with the sounds of nature, the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the distant murmur of a stream. These sounds are not separate from you. They are a part of the same web of life that you are woven into. When you listen to them, when you allow yourself to be present with them, you begin to feel a sense of connection, a sense of belonging. You are not alone in this world. You are a part of something greater, something vast and infinite. In this moment, there is no need to worry about the future or dwell on the past. The future is not yet here, and the past is gone. All that exists is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. When you anchor yourself in the present, when you allow yourself to fully inhabit the here and now, you begin to find a sense of peace. It is not a peace that comes from the absence of difficulty or pain, but a peace that comes from acceptance, from the understanding that life, in all its complexity and imperfection, is exactly as it should be. As you continue on your journey, you may find that the path is not always clear. There may be times when you feel lost, when the shadows of doubt and fear creep in. But even in those moments, there is a light within you, a quiet knowing that guides you forward. It is the light of your own awareness, the spark of your true nature. When you turn toward it, when you trust in its guidance, you will find that you are never truly lost. You are always exactly where you need to be. And so, as you walk through the forest, as you navigate the twists and turns of your own mind, remember this: you are not alone. You are a part of something greater, something vast and infinite. You are a being of light and love, worthy of peace and happiness. And in this moment, in this breath, in this heartbeat, you are free. In the quiet expanse of your mind, there exists a clearing, a place where the air is still and the light is soft, filtering through the canopy of thoughts like a gentle dawn. It is here, in this inner sanctuary, that you may begin to untangle the threads of anxiety that weave their way through your consciousness. Anxiety, like a restless wind, stirs the leaves of your mind, creating a rustling that can feel deafening. But the wind, though persistent, is not eternal. It rises, it falls, and it moves on. So too does anxiety if you allow it to pass through you without resistance. Imagine your mind as a vast open sky. Clouds drift across this sky, some light and wispy, others heavy and dark. Anxiety is one of these clouds, dense and foreboding, casting shadows over the landscape of your thoughts. Yet just as the sky does not cling to the clouds, neither must you cling to your anxiety. Observe it as you would a cloud. Notice its shape, its movement, its texture. Acknowledge its presence, but do not mistake it for the sky itself. The sky remains vast and unchanging, even as the clouds come and go. In the same way, your true nature, calm, clear, and expansive, persists beneath the fleeting turbulence of anxious thoughts. To truly understand anxiety is to recognize it as a visitor, not a permanent resident. It arrives uninvited, often bearing messages from the past or fears of the future. It whispers stories of what might go wrong, of what has already gone wrong, and of what could have been different. These stories are compelling, but they are not the truth. The truth is found in the present moment, in the here and now, where life unfolds in its purest form. When you anchor yourself in the present, anxiety loses its grip. It cannot thrive in the stillness of now, for it is a creature of time, a phantom that feeds on the past and the future. Consider the way a river flows. It does not stop to question its path or worry about the rocks that lie ahead. It simply moves, guided by an unseen force, trusting in the natural order of things. You too are part of this natural order. Your life, like the river, has its own rhythm and flow. Anxiety arises when you resist this flow, when you try to swim against the current or cling to the banks. But when you surrender to the river's pull, when you allow yourself to be carried by its waters, you find a sense of ease and harmony. You realize that you do not need to control the river, you only need to trust it. In the teachings of Buddhism, there is a profound truth known as anatta, or not self. This principle suggests that the self is not a fixed, unchanging entity, but rather a collection of ever-shifting thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Anxiety, too, is part of this collection, a transient phenomenon that arises and passes away. When you identify with anxiety, when you say, "I am anxious," you give it a power it does not inherently possess. But when you see it as something separate from your true self, it becomes easier to let it go. You are not your anxiety, just as you are not your thoughts or your emotions. You are the awareness that observes them, the spaciousness that contains them. To find inner peace is not to eradicate anxiety, but to change your relationship with it. Imagine holding a delicate flower in your hand. If you clutch it tightly, it will crumble. But if you hold it gently, with an open palm, it remains intact. Anxiety is like this flower. When you try to suppress it or push it away, it only grows stronger. But when you approach it with gentleness and curiosity, it begins to lose its intensity. You might even discover that it holds a message for you, a reminder to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect with the present moment. Nature offers countless lessons in acceptance. Consider the way a tree stands tall, even in the face of a storm. Its branches may sway, its leaves may tremble, but it does not resist the wind. It bends and adapts, trusting in its roots to keep it grounded. You too have roots. Deep within your being, there is a source of strength and stability. When anxiety arises, remember your roots. Feel them anchoring you to the earth, steady and unshakable. From this place of groundedness, you can weather any storm. As the seasons change, so too do the patterns of your mind. Anxiety may feel like winter, a time of cold and darkness, when everything seems barren and lifeless. But even in the depths of winter, life persists. Beneath the frozen ground, seeds are waiting to sprout. In the same way, beneath the surface of your anxiety, there is the potential for growth and transformation. Each moment of discomfort is an opportunity to cultivate resilience, to deepen your understanding, and to move closer to inner peace. In the end, anxiety is not an enemy to be defeated, but a teacher to be understood. It invites you to look within, to explore the landscape of your mind with compassion and curiosity. It asks you to release the need for control, to embrace the uncertainty of life, and to trust in the natural flow of existence. When you do this, you begin to see anxiety not as a burden, but as a doorway, a gateway to greater awareness and freedom. So, as you sit in the stillness of your mind, let the wind of anxiety blow through you. Observe it without judgment, without resistance, and as it passes, feel the vastness of your true nature. The sky that holds all things, the river that carries you forward, the tree that stands firm in the storm. In this awareness, you will find the peace that has always been within you, waiting to be discovered. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and moss, and the sunlight filters through the canopy in golden shards. You step forward, and with each step, the world around you seems to soften, as if the forest itself is inviting you to let go. This is not a place of urgency or haste. It is a place of stillness, a sanctuary where time slows and the mind begins to quiet. Here in this quietude, you may begin to sense something profound, a truth that has always been present but often obscured by the noise of your thoughts. This truth is not something to be grasped or understood with the intellect alone. It is something to be felt, to be lived. It is the understanding that anxiety, like the rustling leaves, is not the forest itself, but merely a part of it. It is not you, but something that moves through you, like the wind through the trees. Anxiety, you see, is not an enemy to be vanquished. It is not a flaw or a failure. It is a natural response, a signal from the depths of your being, a call to attention. But like all signals, it can be misunderstood. When you resist it, when you try to push it away or bury it beneath layers of distraction, it only grows louder, more insistent. It becomes a storm within you, churning and thrashing until it feels as though it will consume you. But what if, instead of resisting, you were to meet it with curiosity? What if you were to sit with it, as you might sit with a friend who is in pain, and simply listen? What if you were to allow it to be, without judgment, without fear? This is not an easy thing to do, for it requires a kind of courage, a willingness to face what is uncomfortable, to step into the unknown. But it is in this willingness that you may find a profound sense of peace. Consider the way a river flows. It does not struggle against the rocks in its path. It does not try to change them or force its way through. Instead, it moves around them, over them, through them, always finding a way forward. The river does not resist, it adapts. And in its adaptation, it remains whole, unbroken. You too are like this river. Your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, they are the rocks in your path. They are not obstacles to be removed, but part of the landscape of your life. When you resist them, you create turbulence, a churning that disturbs the natural flow of your being. But when you allow them to be, when you accept them as they are, you begin to move with the current rather than against it. You begin to find your way. This is not to say that you must like or approve of everything that arises within you. Acceptance does not mean resignation or passivity. It means seeing things as they are, without the filter of judgment or the distortion of fear. It means recognizing that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your fears. You are the awareness that observes them, the space in which they arise and pass away. This awareness is vast, boundless, like the sky. Thoughts and emotions are like clouds drifting across the sky, sometimes dark and heavy, sometimes light and fleeting. But the sky itself remains unchanged, untouched. It does not cling to the clouds, nor does it push them away. It simply is. And so too can you be. There is a story in Buddhist tradition about a monk who was troubled by his thoughts. He went to his teacher and said, "Master, my mind is like a wild horse, always running, always restless. I cannot find peace." The teacher smiled and said, "Do not try to tame the horse. Simply watch it. Observe its movements, its rhythms. In time, it will grow calm on its own." The monk followed this advice, and over time, he found that his mind did indeed grow calm. He realized that the peace he sought was not something to be achieved or attained. It was something that was already within him, waiting to be discovered. This is the essence of inner peace, not the absence of turmoil, but the presence of awareness. It is the understanding that you are not defined by your thoughts or emotions, that you are not bound by them. You are free in every moment to choose how you respond to them. You can choose to resist, to struggle, to fight, or you can choose to accept, to allow, to be. The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the possibility of transformation. Imagine now that you are sitting by a still pond. The surface of the water is smooth, like glass, reflecting the sky above. You drop a pebble into the pond, and ripples spread outward, distorting the reflection. But in time, the ripples fade, and the surface of the water becomes still once more. Your mind is like this pond. Thoughts and emotions are like the pebbles, creating ripples that disturb the surface. But beneath the ripples, the water remains calm, clear, undisturbed. This is your true nature, your essence. It is always there, always present, waiting for you to return to it. To return to this stillness, you need not do anything extraordinary. You need only to pause, to breathe, to be present. You need only to notice the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your breath, the sounds around you. You need only to observe your thoughts and emotions as they arise, without clinging to them or pushing them away. In this simple act of noticing, you begin to disentangle yourself from the web of your mind. You begin to see that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your fears. You are the awareness that observes them, the stillness that underlies them. This awareness is not something that you need to create or cultivate. It is already within you, like the sun behind the clouds. The clouds may obscure the sun, but they cannot extinguish it. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions may obscure your awareness, but they cannot destroy it. It is always there, waiting for you to remember it, to return to it. And when you do, you may find that the anxiety that once seemed so overwhelming begins to lose its power. It no longer defines you, no longer controls you. It becomes just another part of the landscape of your mind, like the trees in the forest, the rocks in the river, the clouds in the sky. This is the path to inner peace, not a path of struggle or effort, but a path of acceptance, of allowing, of being. It is a path that requires no special skills or knowledge, no rituals or practices. It requires only that you be present, that you be aware, that you be open to what is. And in this openness, you may find that the peace you seek has been within you all along, waiting for you to discover it. It is not something to be achieved or attained. It is something to be remembered, to be realized. It is your true nature, your essence, your home. So as you walk through the forest of your mind, as you navigate the river of your emotions, as you sit by the pond of your awareness, remember this: you are not lost. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are whole, complete, perfect, just as you are. And in this wholeness, in this completeness, in this perfection, you may find the peace that you seek. It is not something that you need to find. It is something that you already are. It is the stillness beneath the ripples, the sky behind the clouds, the sun behind the storm. It is you, and it is always there, waiting for you to return to it.